Today we have some updates on potential Scream 7 cast members, as well as what are the Scream directors doing right now, besides Scream 7, because they've left that project. Let's get into it. Wasting no time, let's get right on into this. As I reported earlier on in the week, Neve Campbell reportedly said that she would be interested in returning to Scream 7 under the right circumstances.
Is there any hope in the future that you would rejoin it given like the right circumstances?
Given the right circumstances, yes. You know, I made a statement several years ago and it was the reason that I didn't do the film at the time. I just really felt the need to stand up and say that I don't believe I would have been treated that way had I been a man carrying a franchise for 25 years. And that still stands.
If they were smart, they would come back to work.
Yeah, and we'll see.
Jake here is hoping those circumstances are very right. The plot thickens though, as Mindy Meeks Martin, or her real name, Jasmine Seavoy Brown, was asked about if she would return to the upcoming 7th installment of Scream, to which she said this.
Everything that we did, the core 4, is amazing and important and should be celebrated forever. And I'm glad that we got to capture that on screen. And I'm proud to have 4 people of color in that horror film.
Now, if they called you to be a part of the next installment of Scream, your answer would be?
I haven't gotten a call. So I think if you want to ask Spyglass what they're doing, you can. I will. I haven't gotten a call.
While I know that this is an impossibility, I'm really hoping that not only Jasmine here, but everyone else in the Core 4 gets that call eventually. Probably not gonna happen, it's totally wishful thinking, but I can keep my fingers crossed, baby. I would love to see all of these characters back, as well as Neve Campbell. They just add so much to these new Scream movies, I think it would be cool to see them have another shot at it. I've also heavily criticized Mindy Meeks Martin as a character, specifically in the writing. I think Jasmine Seavoy Brown is a fantastic actress. I love a lot of the things that she has to say, especially here, and I'm really excited to start another show that she's a part of called Yellow Jackets that I'm hearing nothing but good things about. Scream 7 itself is unfortunately still in shambles. I'm sure we'll have some sort of update regarding the film, maybe this year. I hope. Stay tuned. But now let's talk a little bit about what former directors of the Scream films, Christopher Landon and Radio Silence, are up to now. Christopher Landon unfortunately has departed Scream 7 due to all the bullshit that's happening with the film right now that absolutely sucks. Spyglass can eat a dick. Did I just say that out loud? Anyways, Christopher Landon is working on something called Big Bad. Let's talk a little bit about this. First reported by Deadline, Christopher Landon's next project will be Big Bad from Lionsgate. It's based on a short story written by Chandler Baker, who's also going to be writing the screenplay. The synopsis for Big Bad reads, the Strauss family is on knife's edge. Sam is a resentful stay-at-home dad. Rachel feels the restlessness in her blood returning. Their children are getting out of hand. And a recent mudslide has forced the wolves out of the woods to look for food. As dusk falls and tensions rise, the family must come together to survive the night from the threats outside and those within. This was a short story, part of an anthology novel called Creature Feature, billed as a collection of devilishly creepy stories that tingle the spine and twist the mind. And let me tell you, I love getting my spine tingled. Ew, that sounded way grosser coming out than it did up here. Christopher Landon will be directing and producing this project, and as we've learned from him in the past, he likes to have some kind of creative hand in the script, so I'm sure he'll maybe get some kind of like co-writer credit. That would be pretty cool. While I'm sad that he's not doing Scream 7 because he's a perfect fit for a Scream movie. I've been saying it for years now. I also like that this story seems to be a bit out of his comfort zone. He usually does slasher movies or Paranormal Activity sequels. The majority of his filmography is that. So it's kind of cool to see him doing something that's a little more like straightforward and serious. Maybe grounded isn't the right word, but like something like Freaky or Happy Death Day isn't necessarily scary to me, but it's still a horror film, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, you still got a guy running around with a knife stabbing people in the throats, but it's not necessarily like super terrifying. I'm not losing sleep over that baby mask. This seems like something that would be terrifying. Wolves ripping you apart? If my buddy Jake is watching, you might remember the time we had to fight coyotes in the middle of the desert. I don't really want to tell you guys about that though, because I think it'll be funny to leave that ambiguous. Now, obviously, Radio Silence has the upcoming Abigail that comes out on April 19th. I'm so excited for it. If you have not seen the trailer yet, your boy covered it on this page already, so go check that video out. But on top of that, we have another huge update, probably the biggest update in this entire video, regarding Radio Silence's future and other projects that they might be attached to. Variety reports that the Radio Silence guys, Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, Tyler Gillette, and Chad Villela, have inked a pact with Studio MRC. Variety details that the partnership announced Wednesday morning aims to produce 2 to 3 3 features annually. An initial slate of projects is said to be announced soon. To give you the skinny basically on what's going on here, Project X Entertainment, Radio Silence, and a studio called MRC are all merging together in order to make this gigantic conglomerate that's able to produce big horror films. Radio Silence and Project X are responsible for the last 2 Scream movies, and Radio Silence themselves are responsible for some other killer horror flicks like Devil's Due, Southbound, and Ready or Not. Me personally, I don't think these guys have missed yet. I really enjoy every movie that they've been a part of, even their little VHS segment in the first VHS film. That was a lot of V's, H's, and S's. Radio Silence issued a statement regarding this, saying, "To be able to formalize our alliance with Project X and work with a studio in MRC that champions original and fresh films couldn't be more exciting to us as storytellers. We look forward to championing original movies for a global horror and thriller audience and hope to create new franchises for genre enthusiasts for years to come." Project X Entertainment also issued a statement, whose co-founders include James Vanderbilt, William Chirac, and Paul Neinstein, saying, "Our partnership with Radio Silence, combined with MRC's stellar track record, innovative deal-making, and creative and production support, will enable us to explore new horizons in this type of filmmaking and become a one-stop shop for creative talent in this space. Not only have we been fortunate to work together on a number of films, but we have become a family who enjoys making movies together, in a business which otherwise likes to throw you a challenge at every turn." One more statement from MRC. I'm sorry, this is a lot of reading. MRC's Bry Adler and Jonathan Golfman say, "We are thrilled and honored to join forces with these 2 companies who share a love of fun and distinctive films. It is rare to find partners so like-minded and entrepreneurial, and we are excited to make a bunch of movies together." If you're thinking to yourself right now, wow, Jake says the word entrepreneur, I can't say it, okay? I'm sorry. I surprisingly get a lot of comments about people saying I have a great voice, but little did you know I've always had problems with speaking. The words specific and pacific have been so hard for me to say my entire life, and entrepreneurial. I can't say that word. I'm so sorry. You don't understand the shock and horror that came over me when I first saw that, and I'm like, I have to read that for this video. I'm fucked. That was like my 7th take that you just heard too. Anyways, let's move on. There's a lot to say here about Radio Silence joining forces with all of these other studios to make a bunch of new horror flicks. First and foremost, I hope that they're able to somehow buy the Scream rights from Spyglass. Probably won't happen. I mean, in that Radio Silence statement I just read, they specifically talked about wanting to focus on like creating new franchises, which I think ultimately is for the better. A big criticism of horror lately is that everything has been franchise continuations. Thankfully, the last 2 years, though, we have gotten the starts of some new franchises lately that have made old Jake here pretty happy. Franchises like Terrifier, Megan, and Smile are thriving right now, and we're getting new sequels for them either this year or next year. The thing that I see the majority of horror fans super excited about these days is the Terrifier films. It's because we finally have a new slasher icon. It feels like it's been way too long since we've had something like that. And look at the success of something like Smile and Megan, which both pulled in almost $200 million. I say almost because Megan didn't quite get there, but Smile definitely did. Both Megan and Smile had some super impressive box office runs for a couple of reasons. Megan came out in January, a dead month for movies, this year being a testament to that. And Smile was in theaters at the same time as a brand new Halloween movie. You know, one of the most popular slasher franchises of all time. Smile also made double what Halloween Ends did, pretty much, which is insane to me. People want original horror so bad. I want to see Scream 7, don't get me wrong, I love all 6 of these movies, but I want to see some more original franchises come about. Good ones too, and not something I've already seen before. I know I'm gonna get a comment about how Smile and Megan are just like other things but done differently, but they're done differently. I'm gonna die on this hill, but Megan and the Child's Play remake are completely different movies. I love one and I hate the other. Same thing with Smile too. I like Drag Me to Hell and Smile for totally different reasons, even if they follow a similar plot structure. Familiar, in my opinion, does not mean you're copying something. It just means you're standing on the shoulders of giants, and there's nothing wrong with that. But Scream 7 is unfortunately still in shambles. How do you guys feel about all this news? I was hoping that like all of this other stuff, talking about what the other directors of the Scream franchise have been doing, would maybe lighten the mood in the Scream community. Maybe, I don't know. Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this brand new Scream 7 update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror movie content in the future. Please consider supporting me on Patreon by clicking that link in the description below, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.